You know, have you ever really thought about the biography of a city? I'm not talking about ancient places like Rome or London, but the brand new ones. Let's get into this, because it turns out some of America's most fascinating communities are way younger than you'd think, and their stories, well, they tell us a ton about how modern life gets built from the ground up. Take a look at this year, 2006. That is when the city of Johns Creek, Georgia officially came into existence. Now, think about that for a second. The very first iPhone wouldn't even be out for another year. This is a city that is quite literally a product of the 21st century.
And that, right there, leads us to the big question, doesn't it? If a city is this new, what was on the map before it? Just a blank space? No way. So how do you go from a bunch of crossroads and farmland to a bustling, modern city? How does that happen? To get that answer, we've got to rewind the clock, way before 2006. This story doesn't start with a city at all. It starts with the land itself.
See, the roots here go deep. Back in the early 1800s, this land was very much lived in. It was part of the Cherokee Nation, a landscape full of villages and trading posts. And you also had pioneer families with names you probably recognize on street signs if you drove around there today, like Rogers, McGinnis, and Medlock, who were starting to build communities. So what about the name, Johns Creek? It's not like they just pulled it out of a hat. It's tied directly to that history. It was a local creek named after Johnson K. Rogers. He was the son of a really prominent landowner. And that one little local name would one day define an entire city. But, you know, this history has a really dark and tragic side. The Georgia Gold Rush back in the 1820s. It changed everything. It prompted the US government to seize Cherokee land, which ultimately led to the forced removal of its people along what we now know as the Trail of Tears. It's an absolutely crucial and very somber piece of this land story. So how in the world do you get from that rural agrarian past to the high-tech hub that it is today? The transformation was, and I'm not exaggerating, absolutely dramatic. Just look at this timeline. It really shows you the two completely different eras of this place. You've got this long history of pioneer life, and then a massive gap. Almost 150 years where it was pretty much just undeveloped farmland. And then, boom, 1981. Something happens that changes everything. This was the catalyst. This was the spark. A group of Georgia Tech grads looked at 1,700 acres of farmland and saw something completely different. They decided to build a high-tech office park. And when they needed a name, they just looked at a map and saw that little tributary, Johns Creek. That was the moment the modern identity of this whole area was born. And the change was so fast. I mean, before Technology Park, this was just rural Georgia. After, it became a corporate powerhouse, attracting hundreds of companies and creating thousands of jobs. And where jobs go, people follow. Then come the houses, the schools, the shopping centers. The population just exploded. But with all that crazy growth came, well, growing pains. By the 2000s, the people living there felt like they needed more local control over things like traffic and development and services. They saw their neighbor, Sandy Springs, successfully become its own city in 2005 and thought, hey, we could do that. A real grassroots movement started, and in 2006, the voters made it official. The city of Johns Creek was born. Okay, so that's the how the city got built, but what kind of place did it become? Who are the people that call Johns Creek home today? Let's take a look. As of the last census, the city is home to just over 82,000 people. I mean, when you think about it, that's an incredible explosion of growth from the few hundred families that were there just a few decades ago. And this population is incredibly diverse. The city has become a true American melting pot. While about half the population is white, almost 30% is Asian, along with really strong Black and Hispanic communities too. And this mix of cultures isn't just a statistic, it completely shapes the city's food scene, its festivals, its whole vibe.
And you can see one of the biggest drivers of that diversity right here. The Asian community especially has grown so much. It jumped more than 6 percentage points in just 10 years. This demographic shift is a huge piece of the city's modern story. Now remember that corporate base we talked about? Well, that has definitely shaped the city's economic profile. With the median household income well over $100,000, it's one of the most affluent communities in Georgia. That really reflects the high-skilled jobs that brought people here in the first place. Okay, so we know how it started and we know who lives there, but What does it feel like to live there? What's the city's actual character?
You know, you can learn a lot about a place by looking at who signs the paychecks. And here, you see a huge presence in healthcare, with Emory Johns Creek Hospital right at the top. You also see major retail and logistics companies, so this tells you it's not just a bedroom community where everyone commutes out, it's a major economic engine all on its own. And of course, a city is way more than just jobs and houses. Johns Creek has clearly worked hard to build a really high quality of life. I mean, it has its own professional symphony orchestra. It hosts a massive international festival celebrating its diversity. And if you're outdoorsy, you've got world-class golf, plus miles of riverfront on the Chattahoochee and beautiful nature preserves. But here's the thing about a city this young. It's not finished. It's not done defining itself. It's still actively forging its future, figuring out what it wants to be next. The story is definitely not over. The city is thinking right now about its long-term identity. You've got these community initiatives like Johns Creek Vitality that are all about building a reputation as a center for healthcare innovation and wellness. They're using their strengths, like that big Emory hospital, to plan their next chapter. Which really leaves us with this one fascinating question. Johns Creek went from Cherokee land to a high-tech city in a single lifetime. It's got the houses, it's got the jobs, it's got the parks. But what does it take to build a city's soul? How does a brand new place forge the kind of history and identity that will last for generations? That's the challenge every new city eventually has to face.